Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Peaky Pod by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario, alongside
Zachary, your other host. Welcome.
Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. After 2 years, I finally caught COVID. And hit me like a brick for about 3 days. Still lingering. Although today, I gotta say, I don't have the sinus pressure that I've had for like the last week. But
that's good. You're sounding better. Sounding better.
I think I sound back to normal at this point, like at like 98.3. That's like us.
Yeah, I'd keep it a few points off of 100. But yeah.
But those first 3 days were something, man. Something.
Spare me the details.
I gotta go into a little bit. It's like when COVID first came out, like as if this was like a release, releasing a season of COVID. You get a little bit paranoid, like any little bit like tightness in the chest or like any sort of like cough or shortness of breath, and you're like, shit, is it COVID? Is this it? But no, once you get it and if it hits you good, it is unmistakable. Like the back pain, like the actual back soreness and stuff, like Jesus. And anyways, I'm back. Fortunately for me, but unfortunate to the cadence of our recording, I'm leaving out of town on vacation for a week tomorrow. So we did want to pepper one in there and at least satiate the thirst of Peaky Blinders content, because we know, like the rest of you, we're like you. Peaky's is over. And just any sort of taste of Peaky kind of just keeps us going as we await.
Yeah,
we
got to keep us sustained until that movie comes out.
Well, we've got 4 episodes to go, and then from there it's just maybe an episode. I won't even commit to anything in terms of what it could be. I know we'll do some stuff, but after that it's on to some other shows. I've been on some other things. I've finished Stranger Things.
Same.
I just started Terminal List on Amazon Prime, which you would love, Zach.
I think I've seen the trailer for that. It looked pretty good.
It's fantastic. And then Blackbird just came out on Apple TV. With
Blackbird, what is that about?
It's about a guy. I think it's Taron Egerton. I think that's his name. I always have a hard time pronouncing his name. He played Elton John in the biopic, and he gets arrested and accepts a deal that kind of like locks him up longer than he anticipated. But they offer to commute his sentence if he would go into a maximum security like prison for the criminally insane if he's able to get a confession out of a serial killer in the prison. So it's one of those. It's kind of like Mindhunter away, which is a pretty great show. It's got me. It's got me in. Apple TV strikes again, man. I think this might just be the Apple TV pod.
It might be. I mean, they're killing it, honestly, right now. I haven't really watched a single show I haven't liked.
Can we just rebrand and get sued by them and then use the publicity to get hired by them as like the exclusive Apple TV pod?
I don't know. You never know.
I mean, why the hell not? They say any publicity is good publicity, right?
Listen, I'm sucked into For All Mankind right now, so I got another episode
that
just came out tonight.
I gotta get into that.
The new season just came out. Season 3's out, and they just released another episode tonight. I think episode 4.
Okay.
Of season 3.
Okay.
So I mean, the first 2 seasons were better than season 3. I will admit to that, but it's still really great. It's got me watching every week.
All right. Well, next things aside from Peaky Blinders will be the season review of Stranger Things. We're just going to do a 1 episode review. We may drop a little teaser in the Peaky Pod to kind of let you guys know what we're up to on the Story Archives podcast, which you need to go and follow and subscribe to if you haven't done so already, because that's where you're going to hear the majority of our content when we're not working on Peaky Blinders, and you can stay up to date with all the greatest and latest entertaining TV shows of the world. All right, Zach, let's get into Season 4, Episode 3 of Peaky Blinders, titled...
Let's do it.
Blackbird.
Wow, so the movie or show you just told me about...
Oh, yeah.
Plus was Blackbird.
See, Zach,
I was like, wow, that sounds familiar. That's weird.
I don't listen to what I'm saying, so I'm glad you're doing it.
That's hilarious. What a coincidence.
This episode follows the events of Christmas Day, where Michael and and John were shot up, and Michael's continuing his active recovery in the hospital, but the gang is very much still being pursued by Changretta and the gang. That was a redundant sentence, but
yeah, a little bit.
You see Tommy's strategy here is, I mean, the Peaky Blinders have a chokehold over Birmingham. They have just absolute control over the city. They have the loyalty of the men. They have the loyalty of the police. They have pretty much everything that they need. And you see Tommy using the chaos to kind of choke control of the city while the police are distracted with other matters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think he's using this whole like communist storyline that's going on to his advantage, as he's alluded to Jesse Eden on occasion, right? Where he needs the city to be kind of like the Wild West so that he can deal with this vendetta against Changretta, because he did vow not to use cops, although whether Tommy will uphold that vow is another story.
I don't know, man. When you're dealing with the Black Hand, you never know. Or when you get dealt the Black Hand, I guess. Didn't this all happen right after everybody went on strike, so there was no factory workers? It's kind of hilarious how many people are kind of running back to the factory trying to work now. Yeah,
it's interesting because I think all those things, like a strike is only as impactful as the workers are, you know. It's like it's a game of chicken, right?
Yeah.
But Tommy wants it that way for now. He wanted the strike to occur so that he could essentially have the city
face.
Exactly. He wants to pretty much dominate security and limit the vulnerabilities that they have in their system. On to Michael. I have some questions about Michael and his overall character in this episode.
Okay.
His mother, the mother who adopts him and raised him pretty much, comes to visit him in the hospital. And he's so cold to her. He finds out that his father died, or his adopted father died. For all intents and purposes, seems like a good family. Seems like she was.
Yeah, they seem nice.
Seems like she was a good mother to him. Seems like the way he reacts to the father having died, that he was a good adopted father. And the most criminal thing that they did for Michael was give him a calm, normal upbringing in a suburban neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, Michael hasn't bothered to visit her, bothered to visit his father. You know, for me, I lost respect for Michael a little bit here.
I did too.
You know, it's not her fault that he was taken from his real mother, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She did what she could as his adopted mother. And so he treats her like trash, and it's a bit disturbing, because I don't think it's
disappointing.
If he's able to treat her like that, who raised him, you know, what does that mean? You know, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I feel like Michael just really, really I mean, you already mentioned it. He's really cold in this, yes, but I feel like we start to see his dark side come out here.
Could it be that it's that he does care, but he knows he's decided a life of crime, and so he's trying to protect his adopted mother from essentially any danger that could occur, or during this vendetta, that he doesn't want her near him because she could be used as like a chip against him in a way?
I don't know. He really seemed to me like he didn't care at all.
Yeah.
Like it didn't faze him. Yeah. Just like, why are you here?
Yeah. It was cold.
Yeah.
We got Polly in this episode rejoining the Shelby Company Limited. I always find it a little bit strange, maybe because I'm for the most part an informal, improvisational being myself. The way how official they do all of this, like, does the board have approval for Polly joining the thing? Like, what are we doing? Why are we going through the motions on this?
It seems over the top.
It is over the top, right? It's not just me. It's like when he says, due to the circumstances of the treasurer's injuries, all accounting duties shall pass to Ada Thorne.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
I feel like every period piece sort of show always has that vibe of just being over the top. I wonder if that's just an artifact of a period piece being a period piece, or is that really trying to portray how people would talk and interface?
I always saw this as Tommy trying to play the part of the legitimate company. Like, you didn't see any of this in season 1 and 2 or 3 for the most part.
That's true.
Or seasons 1 and 2. And so it's kind of like, we need a mindset change, guys. We're not a Backstreet Razor gang. We have to evolve here, and our vernacular has to change as well.
Yeah, Tommy does always kind of like say these lines with this like, this is slightly stupid attitude.
Yeah. He does say, like, I almost don't want to say this stuff, but I have to go through the motions.
It's something really official sounding on record for the rando just sitting there writing it down.
Maybe he doesn't trust his family, and they come back at him and say he didn't officially announce these changes, and they take him to court. Who knows?
I mean, you are a criminal, like ring, so
yeah,
wouldn't put it past them.
You mentioned something that caught my attention of the historical pieces, but it completely evaded my mind. Now I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Everyone's kind of concerned about Polly's off the rails behavior in this episode, and Ada asks her to behave, and she turns around and essentially says, behave. Like, I'll comply because we're in a time of war, but since I've joined this company, I've lost a husband. She lost her love. She lost all these things. She's nearly died, and so it's kind of like a great moment, because I think for the most part, because we spend so much time with Tommy, we have compassion and empathy for like what Tommy's trying to do. But when she puts it so succinctly, it's like, damn it, she's got a point. She definitely does not have to behave. Yeah. She's been through hell.
Yeah. I mean, you can say the same for most of them as well.
Yeah, but she's got the cojones to kind of follow through on the sticking it to Tommy, right?
Yeah. She's also the oldest here. She's still the elder of the group.
If you don't count Charlie and I think Charlie's like the only other one.
Yeah, he's the only other one that's... I would say Charlie and Polly are probably the same age.
There's an interesting dynamic going on in this episode where Arthur is very much trying to play with old gypsy tradition, where the eldest takes out revenge against the one who's seeking revenge on his family. So technically, because John was killed by Luca, it should be Arthur who carries out the killing of Luca Changretta, right? And so that's what's going on in this episode, is the kind of like the main family storyline there, where you have Linda, who goes to Arthur's office to try to keep him away from the family meeting, which was puppeted by Aunt Polly, who's trying to use, Linda's using sex, she's using drink, she's using whatever she can to keep Arthur out of harm's way and being a hothead and going after Luca, right? So you have that. Tommy is, as I just mentioned, is trying to like progress the company. So he's like, look, this is a time of war. I know we're going to vote on whether I should hand these papers to these pictures of Luca to Aberama Gold, but it doesn't matter who kills Changretta as long as he's dead. He wants to kill us all. Doesn't matter if it's Arthur. It doesn't matter if it's Aberama. So whose side are you on here? First and foremost, do you get kind of like, what do you think about Linda going behind Arthur's back and kind of using sex in a way to distract him and get what she wants out of him? Although it is kind of for his own good.
It is kind of for his own good. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I would say I'm more on the side of Tommy trying to take the tradition out of the picture here, because they're dealing with more than just a single person, dealing with a very skilled group of people.
I agree. I mean, granted, if we killed them all and Changretta was last, then I'd be like, Arthur, by all means, please kill him. But other than that, if it means I can save my whole family, and it doesn't matter who kills him, it could be some random Joe who's on the books.
Yeah.
You go that route too.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely the safer of the route for you.
Yeah. I think this episode, there's kind of like a swing in the Changretta vendetta, right? When Arthur, who actually, although they try to stop him from going to the meeting to protect him, it actually ends up being almost more harmful to him in the sense because he gets jumped in this factory that there's a strike going on in. Because, I mean, damn it, there's a strike going on and there's like 6 people working. Like, what's going on in this factory?
Well,
you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, though? Like, it's what is going on? They just barred everybody from coming in. How is stuff still going on?
Yeah.
Also,
somebody stole the keys.
Shout out to Stephen Knight for the research he did. Is paint flammable? Or was it?
It could have been.
Well, I read in the notes that the reason they're throwing paint on the floor in this, because you see Arthur's covered in this red paint, is because they were trying to set the factory on fire. Now, I always thought those guys were decoys to distract him while Changretta's men came in to try to assassinate him.
Yeah.
But it turns out they were just trying to light the factory on fire. I always did find it random they were throwing paint in the basement. I was
it is flammable, by the way.
Even till this day?
In a way, aerated. I think so. Basically, any automotive paint prepared with reducers and lacquer thinner pose flammability issues when sprayed, spilled, or in any way aerated to the atmosphere. So, yeah.
Well, interesting. Arthur survives this jumping by 2 people, which I gotta say this is part of my issue with the Changretta vendetta. These are not skilled assassins, man. How are these guys skilled assassins? I just can't bring myself to believe it.
Well, I feel like they're more just like the Goonies. They're Shangretta's Goonies.
Goodness gracious.
Like they're not really assassins. It's just like, all right, I've got 7 men with me. 2 of you go and... It was a simple mission. Like, they weren't there to kill him. They were there to set the place on fire, and then they got the living shit kicked out of them.
No, that wasn't... No, they were there to kill Arthur. You are mistaken, my friend. The first 2 guys had nothing to do with them.
Oh, shoot, I forgot there was 2 guys before that.
Yeah, those are the guys who were just throwing the paint on the factory.
My bad.
And then the doors were left open, which becomes the other question in the episode is who the hell left the doors open in the factory when they were barred shut?
These are some pretty weak assassins then.
Yeah. I just find it like, come on,
I also want to give credit where credit's due. Arthur's got some skills.
I know, but he's wearing like these click-clack shoes on metal flooring, and he's sneaking around as if you can't hear him.
It is a loud factory, though. I mean, there would be a lot of noises. Roaring fires and furnaces and metal clanging in the distance.
Yeah, well, I'm not the only one mad, because when Changretta in the next scene is fantastic. As he shoves dry bread into one of his men's mouths, who's complaining about the food. It's such a ridiculous scene because he calls out what we're all thinking is, why are you dressed up like these mobster goons walking through the city? Like, if I saw you walking down the street with black gloves, black coat, black bowler hat, today I'd think you're dressed really nice. But back then, I would think you're out to kill me, And they're looking Italian as hell.
Oh, yeah. Extremely.
Yeah, I mean, just, you got to fit in, and that's essentially what the message is. I always laugh at the scene because the guy with the one not complaining about the food looks identical to a friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Identical. So I always crack up at this scene. But the way, if anybody ever gives me some nonsense, though, I'm definitely pulling a Changretta and shoving a biscuit in their mouth.
It's a weird power move, but it works.
Have you ever seen The Godfather?
Of course. It's been a while, but I have seen it.
Well, James Caan passed away this week, who played Sonny Corleone in Godfather 1. Yeah, he passed away yesterday or the day before.
Dang.
I can't help but feel, even the way Changretta's dressed, that he's pulling most of his inspiration from Sonny Corleone. If you see the way he's dressed, he's got the vest, he's got the rolled up sleeves, he's a hothead. It's completely Sonny Corleone.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. photo of him. It does look exactly like him.
Yeah, just like the way he's dressed, the mannerism, specifically in this scene, and the way he acts.
Mm-hmm.
Found, just because I've been thinking about James Caan, and, Sonny is the role I always think of him in.
Got you.
Back at, I guess this would be Shelby headquarters. Arthur's.
This is the gambling or the betting den or something like that.
I always consider this like the true HQ. Arthur's already been washed up with taking the pain off of him and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at this point, I think, caught on to the puppetry going on how the family's working against him.
Mm-hmm.
To keep him away from the harm that could come from being the one who carries out killing Changretta.
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, I'm on Tommy's side. You just lost one of your brothers. Your other one is Arthur and Finn, of all people.
Well, it's like he lost his brother, albeit I think he lost the more replaceable brother.
I agree with that. I think it's definitely Arthur's number 2.
Arthur's the most irreplaceable character aside from Polly on the show. So I'd say Tommy at this point is not going to lose another brother if he has the chance to, even if it pisses off Arthur. But you can respect Arthur. Like it's very respectable what Arthur's trying to do here.
Yeah.
So it's like, would you respect Arthur as much if he wasn't having such a hard time letting go of this vendetta?
I think this is one good thing that Arthur should be pissed off about.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, with Arthur's character, and it's been this way since season 1, Tommy kind of has to treat him like a child. Like Tommy always knows better, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
It's still the better decision for Arthur.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I can't get that far ahead. But there are times when Arthur is right and Tommy's ambition gets the best of him at times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody can be wrong at times.
I as weird as this sounds, I'm with Arthur on the whole thing about being pissed at Linda. Like, I would feel used if my wife just came to my office and, we had this amazing hookup and I find out my aunt was behind it. Like, that would piss me off to no shortage of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you were used, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like, I'm staying out late that night.
It was a very weird scene too. It was very extremely out of character.
Yeah, it was. That's why it was like, this is too good to be true. Like the whole thing is just, it's too good to be true. And she continues as he gets home until he grabs her, forcefully, and it's like, Polly put you up to this. It's true. Polly's getting in the ways and like kind of like breaking these unspoken bond between like rules, between a man and his wife. It's like, it's too much.
Yeah.
I get it though. Yeah. I get it. It's a as long as you don't lose Arthur, we're good.
The destination was right, but the trip was not the appropriate.
The execution. But he wouldn't have listened if it was in any other way, He damn near almost killed him though with by dabbling with destiny there.
There's a lot of things in here that, end up, convincing him of that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not just that one little bit with Linda.
Yeah. So the mole who left the door open, the first guess is that it's the foreman of the factory who has become a Peaky Blinder through association. He also has what's the term I'm looking for? What do you call that when you have it's like a burning thing, or like when there's like a key bit of evidence against you?
Smoking gun.
Yeah, he also has a smoking gun that he has booked tickets to meet up with his wife in Glasgow.
One-way
A
tickets.
one-way ticket. So, Tommy naturally thinks that this guy is probably well-minded. And by the way, I thought upon watching this for the first time and even rewatching this for I don't know how many times, I thought this guy was guilty as well. However, once he goes into elaborating, like, why do you think I would want to get the hell out of town? You're fighting an army of Italians who want to kill your entire family. Okay.
He had some good arguments.
The communist want you dead too. It's like, I gotta get out of here, man. Yeah, I'm not getting paid enough for this shit. That's essentially the gist of this conversation. Yeah. And Tommy's like, all right, man, you're right. You've got a point here, my friend. You know? So,
I'm with you. I thought he was guilty at first.
Yeah. But he makes a convincing point.
Oh, he does.
One
of the most convincing points in these types of scenes I've seen.
You ever played L.A. Noire?
Of course.
I would let him go if he gave me this explanation. That was invested. If I was like interrogating him, that game was hilarious.
A monologue of like 2 minutes.
I falsely convicted so many people in that game on accident, like just completely.
That game was amazing.
Yeah.
That game was ahead of its time. I wish they would.
I need a remake or like a sequel to that game. I would prefer a sequel.
Yeah. I would love it. You remember the main cop in that is the guy from Mad Men?
Yeah, Cole. His name's Cole Phelps, right?
I'm pretty sure
it's amazing because I forget most characters' names and everything. Yeah. But that character, I just can't forget his name.
Yeah.
Anyways, the foreman who Tommy suspects to be the mole, although he makes a great point and does not die at that meeting, Tommy does not allow him to leave. He is a Peaky Blinder now, and he is not allowed to go until Tommy says so. Okay.
Interesting move. Yeah.
The meeting with Jesse Eden and Tommy. I think Jesse Eden has like the most like romantic chemistry with Tommy. She's like the only one intellectually on his level, or at least kind of like sassy enough to give him a challenge, right?
Yeah, I would say sassy enough.
Yeah. But she is a pawn here that he's using to keep the factories in his secure control.
Yeah, so I feel like I wouldn't put them on the same mental level because I don't think she realizes it.
I don't think Grace was there either. I just think that she was closer than like say Lizzie or something like that, who does have her moment in this episode. Mm-hmm. Tommy goes to Jesse Eden's house under the guise of offering her an improved union offer. However, what he's there for truly is to see if she recognizes any of the men in the Changretta photo, and if they showed up to any communist meetings or have infiltrated the Communist Party, right? Mm-hmm. At which point Tommy kind of doxes himself and shows that he's an agent of the crown, and he's using that to his benefit here, or to his gain, to try to get information out of Jessie, who's not so willing here. She kind of jabs him in places that he did, that no one would dare to do. She's done research on him and found out that he used to love a girl before the war, back when Tommy was a normal non-gang leader, named Greta Gerasi, who apparently died of consumption.
Consumption, yeah.
Which is tuberculosis. And I think, right? Tuberculosis.
Yeah, I believe so.
Arthur Morgan.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Dutch. She kind of digs at him and kind of like gets in there. Definitely gets under his skin. She even pulls out a photo of old Tommy with this girl. We find out that Tommy was a confessed member of the Communist Party, which we did get kind of an inkling with Freddie Thorne's storyline, and Ada always kind of hinting that Tommy believes in something. greater than himself.
Yeah. It's the war that messed him up, man.
It's a little bit of a chess match here where he digs at her, mentions her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend who killed himself after returning from the war.
Mm-hmm.
And she digs at him, bringing up this girl who would probably be ashamed of the person that Tommy has become, and he knows it. She's essentially saying that he has changed completely. He's no longer the boy in the photograph.
That's a fact.
And there's no rebuttal from Tommy in there.
It's true. Now, do you think that she knew anybody in the photo?
I don't see why she would want him dead.
I don't either. We don't have enough of a backstory of her to have any sort of grudge of any sort. Not that I can see.
I think she was probably just heated. If she really wanted to, if she really did know somebody, she wouldn't need that photo to pick out somebody who doesn't fit in,
Mm-hmm.
She could do her diligence and find out.
Yeah.
Interesting though that Tommy takes the photo of him and Greta with him. He doesn't leave it at her place.
Where did she get the photo?
She was good friends with Greta's sister.
Oh, that's right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
All of these relationships tie in all the time. It's like a spider web of people who know people that know people and know you.
I mean, it's a small town, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back the next day after everybody kind of has their little emotional night, Arthur does take the advice of his wife and everybody else who's kind of like unspokenly saying the same thing. But that they ultimately know Arthur needs to make this decision for himself. And he does so in the most dramatic way. He fires the bullet in the back alley of his Birmingham house. But he does it in such a... I guess because I can't relate to that tradition.
Yeah.
His pained reaction is he probably feels like he's betraying John Boy. Right?
I would imagine
that he couldn't protect his family as the eldest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he just feels like a complete failure here.
Yeah. Did Polly get a haircut?
I was just about to comment. That is some... I don't even know what to call that hairdo.
Yeah.
What do you think about the girl power element in this episode? They really all start to click up and come together and start to try and move the company in their own way.
I like it. I mean, I like it because it fits with Polly. Linda annoys me, but
she annoys the crap out of me.
But I like Polly and Ada and Lizzie. I like Lizzie too.
Polly should not have taken that jacket off. She looks like a freaking boy.
Yeah, she's dressed with the tie and the shirt, which I don't think was common back then. So I do think that they try to modernize the show in their own way to make it seem more progressive at times. But I think they're just fast forwarding a timeline. Would it be that far fetched to call Polly like a maverick trailblazer for women leading the workplace? I think she would totally do it. I think my grandma's a badass like Polly. Like she totally would have done something like this probably. So and it just doesn't matter. It's more dependent on who the person is. None of the other women are dressed like men in the office besides Polly.
No, well, they couldn't pull it off.
And she's on her own kind of like tip right now, right? She's like she's admitted in the previous episode, she now knows what it feels like to already be dead. So she's kind of like refinding herself in this thing. She also talks about how she hasn't had sex in forever. And she's like, she asks Ada that question. So it's one of those things where I think she's just she's Polly, man. She's like a cowgirl. She just goes, she's like in the Wild West. Mm-hmm. That's why she's irreplaceable. It's really just the trio.
Yeah, you got Tommy, Arthur, and Polly. That's it.
Yeah. Finn. Finn has a big episode here. You know what happens to him?
No.
Well, because the girls are in charge, they immediately give Finn some flack. the fact that he's a virgin, and so they make it a point to get a prostitute so that he can become a man, which is important to Tommy, because he alludes in this episode that it's time for him to fill in John's role. Yeah. You know, he's the blood brother. It's just not Michael at the end of the day, and it seems that blood matters to the Shelbys. It's not like, I think the Grays can step into the role, but it's really a Shelby job, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not Shelby with that last name, then you can't really be a part of the three brotherhood.
You gotta be a Shelby.
Yeah.
What do you think of Tommy taking Lizzie to this place?
I think Tommy's trying to put the ghosts behind him. I think he's, grieving his lost wife. I think his other love before that was probably the girl that Jesse mentions. Yeah, and he sees that Lizzie's a good woman and somebody who's been there for him through the dark times. And so I think he's trying to kind of almost like exercise this place that's a happy memory for him and bring somebody else that he cares about to it. At least that's the way I interpret the scene. It's like Tommy kind of touching base with his old self. He at this point says he wants to increase charitable donations and open more homes for destitute children. It's a light into the good side of Tommy in the midst of this war. Right. What did you think of the whole Lizzie?
Tommy thing? At first I thought it was a bit weird, out of all places, to come here. But he does end up mentioning that he promised somebody he would change, and this is where that happened.
It does.
So, I mean, it kind of changes.
I don't know if I'm misremembering what the girl looked like, but Lizzie does have kind of like the same kind of look to her as the girl in the photograph. And, if you want, maybe Tommy was reliving a memory through Lizzie, in a sense, at the canal.
Very well could be. I feel like she does look a little similar. A little.
Yeah. I wonder, with Tommy at this point, it's probably just he appreciates people he can trust. Mm-hmm. By the way, this whole vendetta kind of started because Lizzie was dating Angel Changretta. And then John Boy cut his face up. It's, it's funny, like you said, all the relationships matter because, Tommy forbid John Boy from marrying Lizzie, and here he is taking his relationship with her to the next level. Would he have done this if John was still alive? Probably still, because I don't think he gives a damn. And he probably
he's still been with her.
He probably selfishly stopped John from marrying her because he feels he has a claim on her. That would be my guess.
I would imagine so. I mean, because he was a frequent with her during, before, and after all of that.
Exactly. All right. The key scene of the episode and the cliffhanger. Tommy meets with Luca Changretta at a very nice looking bar, lounge.
We need to find
club.
One of those around here.
Yeah, I mean, we're overdue to find our go-to old-fashioned spot,
Mm-hmm.
I wish people still dressed, like this
Same.
To go out, and it's just
not flip-flops and shorts.
It's just not classy, man.
It's not at all. This scene left me with the most questions.
Okay,
fire away. I just don't. Well,
But elaborate.
I mean, the question that I mean, they seem like they know each other or have known each other or grew up together.
Who? Luca and Polly?
Luca and Polly. Is that the case, or am I misinterpreting something?
Well, he says that his mother knew Polly, like her whole life.
Well, that's true. His mother was the teacher of Tommy and Arthur as well.
Mm-hmm. Which
makes sense.
Tommy was right wanting to have her killed as well.
Yeah.
Because Luca mentions that the way he's getting his information is through his mother, right? Mm-hmm. So without that information, this vendetta would not be possible. Do you buy Paulie turning on Tommy here and giving up? Like, what were your thoughts, or what are your thoughts in terms of... Would she at this point... Is she at the point where she would truly... give Tommy up here? Is it really running through her head here?
I think she loves her son, and she currently loathes Tommy just with everything that's gone. I mean, Tommy's killed her, essentially, is, I think, her perspective on this. The only thing left alive at this point is Michael.
Yeah.
Who was almost killed. He wasn't at the gallows. He wasn't going to be hung.
My question was always in this scene, how did they don't mention at all, like, how did they get the note out to Changretta? If they knew where Changretta was, why not just go kill him? Why do this whole thing with Polly meeting him at the bar, you know?
I wondered that as well. Maybe there's like some unspoken rules, like rules of war or something. I mean, you used to fight people and go to battle in different ways, and there still is some to it, but there was rules to the way that you would battle and how you would fight.
Yeah, well,
maybe you just never. But I mean, then again, they went up on John Boy's home and shot him. So
well, the deal between Polly and Luca is to save Michael, Arthur, and Finn, and pretty much everybody but Tommy. Which seems like that would be a Tommy order, by the way. Right? It seems like it.
It could be.
It's not like everything he's done for the most part, even when he's lied to his family, has been to protect them from the knowledge that he has, right? Season 1, he protects them from the knowledge of the stolen weapons. It's only through their insistence that they find out about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did find it interesting. I didn't like the fact that we got no lead up. It was just like a surprise meeting between Luca and Polly. I just wish there would be a little bit more of the strategy of what's going on with the vendetta.
See, and that bit of it was what kind of made me think like maybe they knew each other, and when they were kids, like it was like, oh,
I don't think they're this. I don't think they're the same age though, Zach. I don't think they're the same age. I think Luca's closer to Tommy's age than to Polly's.
It could be.
Yeah, or probably closer to Arthur's age.
Arthur is older.
Yeah. So and Luca is the oldest brother. So it makes the most sense. All right, that wraps the actual episode itself. The episode ends on that deal between Polly and Luca being made, and Polly walking away and refusing to dance with him.
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's get into your magnificent questions.
I got a few. Right. Most memorable character of the episode.
Arthur?
That's the one I've got.
I don't think Tommy's that memorable in this episode. Believe it or not.
No, this whole episode was around Arthur. I mean, the entirety of the episode was really around Arthur. Everybody was trying to get him to come with the grips that tradition needs to be done away with, and he doesn't need to feel like he has to be the one to kill Luca.
I'd have to give it to Arthur. If there was a second place, it goes to Luca. Simply on that scene where he's shoving a dry bread loaf down his associate's.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I guess I'll jump to that next then. Best line of the episode.
Let me think about this. If you have one, you go first here.
All right. Mine is, I can't remember the words, but it's the entire 2-minute spiel from the foreman.
Okay. I like it. I like that.
Yeah, it was a good one. Only person to ever make me, think like, oh, no, Tommy got this one wrong.
I've got the line here, and I have it pulled up, actually.
Oh, boy.
It's my favorite part of the episode. Or one of them. It's when Ada tells Polly to behave, and she goes, whilst working for this company, I have killed a man, I have lost a man, I have found a son, I have almost lost a son, I have almost lost my own life. Now I will accept my job back if the terms on offer are favorable. But I will not behave myself. That's a damn good line.
It is.
Linda also has a good one, and it's advice from her drunken Catholic mother, as she calls her. She says, keep his balls empty and his belly full. She says that's what her mother's advice was to her on how to keep her husband happy.
Oh my God.
And
that was one of the moments I wrote down that just stood out to me. It was like this really weird Pirates of the Caribbean vibe that I got from her of just
she just turns into a complete pirate in this episode.
Yeah. All right, best scene of the episode.
By the way, your guy Niall, the foreman, his name is Niall Devlin. He does have a good one. He says, "Mr. Shelby, may I tell you something? You have a lot of enemies."
It's so true.
It's a good episode. All right, what you're gonna ask me?
Best scene.
I think the Jesse Eden scene with Tommy is the best scene. We learn a little bit more about Tommy's background and Jesse Eden's background, and I thought that was I love that scene. It's a good one.
Got you. I have two, actually. My first one is Arthur's battle in the shop or in the warehouse.
Okay.
I always love seeing Arthur in action. But my second one is him firing the bullet and coming to grips with the fact that he's not going to be the one to kill Luca.
I like the scene with Arthur and obviously killing the two guys, but not my favorite scene in the episode.
No. Well, speaking of not your favorite scene in the episode, what was the most annoying moment of the episode for you? You got one.
I'm not mad at the incompetence of the assassins, because if they were good, then Arthur dies in this episode.
Yeah. Can't be mad at that.
Probably just a lack of background as to how this meeting with Polly and Changretta took place.
All right. Mine is the meeting between Michael and his adopted mother.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like seeing Michael continue to spiral down this dark hole of just resentment.
Woe is me and blah,
Exactly.
blah, blah. Yeah.
Just like, get over it. Like, what?
He was just shot like 20 times.
I mean, he was, but there's been nothing that we've been shown to make us know why he would not like his adopted parents at all. He knew them for like his entire life.
Well,
other than the past year.
If we're gonna get deep here, wasn't Michael at like a orphanage, or like he went to this church and the priest touched him?
That's true.
His parents put him in that place. I don't know.
Did they, or was that?
If I was an actor and they told me like you have to like draw up this thing, like maybe there was like a whole background there with the parents. They seem like good parents, but maybe it was a really effed up upbringing. We don't know. I don't know.
Could have been.
She seems like a nice lady, though. I'll be honest with you. She's bringing some apples with her.
Oh, I know.
Obviously, it wasn't that bad because his reaction to the father dying is definitely one of sadness. But he just seems to disregard his loved ones pretty quickly. I will say.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for questions.
Okay. That's it? That's all you got, man?
That's like all of them. I threw one more than what we normally do.
Damn.
Best scene, best line, most memorable character, most annoying moment.
I'm a little disappointed. All right, that's it.
We're going to have to figure some other ones out and drop them up in here.
I'm messing around. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Just to gear you up, like I said, I will be out of town. So I will be the one at fault for the lack of season 4 being completed in the next week. However, the next episode you will probably hear from us or see on the feed, aside from this one, of course, will be our recap of Stranger Things season 4, or part 4 as they call it. So be on the lookout for that. Please follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and sleep well at night after you do that, because you're going to sleep like a baby as soon as you do that. You know, it's just great sleep. Right, Zach? When you rated us 5 stars, like, how did you sleep the next day?
Yeah, I mean, you feel like you achieved something wonderful.
Right?
So,
life-changing, right?
Like a baby. Yeah, exactly.
All right. To the outro.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Season 4, Episode 3 of the Peaky Blinders podcast by Story Archives. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts. You can visit us on Instagram at Story Archives, and you can visit our website at storyarchives.themidnightexchange.com. However, we are changing our podcast network, so it is no longer the Midnight Exchange. It is now the Soapbox Podcast Network. So go and visit our website over at soapbox.house, and you can see all of the podcasts that we have there, along with some, upcoming podcasts that we will be producing content for. And there's a whole bunch of links to other networks, other podcasts that you can take a look at there, and we're looking forward to seeing you on some of those.
Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, stay peaky.